Dionus, the big bad elf himself, could turn an unassuming board of 2 mana dorks into an instant win. How? Storming off with the elves, baby. No infinite combos, it's not needed. And also, no game changers. We're going to be breaking down the deck list, talking about some deck building traps I see other lists fall into, and I'm also going to be talking about budget alternatives. And at the end, we'll just do a little bit of goldfishing.
But first, what does Dionus actually do?
He gives each of your elves the ability that when they tap, they trigger to untap and gain a +1 counter, allowing you to tap them twice per turn. And obviously, what is the best thing to tap in elves? The subscribe button. Yeah, boy! No, but seriously, it's mana dorks. We are going to build a crazy mana engine, stuff the deck full of card draw and haste and protection, because you're going to be the threat. And yeah, we're just going to smash face and, take some names. Our turn 1 plays are Elvish Mystic, Finhorn Elves, Llanowar Elves, and Boreal Druid, each tap for 1. Arbor Elf untaps a forest, which synergizes beautifully with Wild Growth and Utopia Sprawl, each which make a forest tap for 2. Jiraga Tree Speaker, he taps for 2, but you'll have to pay 1 and a green in order to level him up to do so. No worries though, him being at 1 mana fits the curve perfectly. And Soaring, cause yeah. Our turn 2 plays include Incubation Druid, it taps for 1. If it has a +1 counter on it, it taps for 3. Gyre Sage, it taps for each counter on it, and it has Evolve. Devoted Druid, it taps for 1. It has an ability to untap itself. Paired with your commander, you could tap it up to 4 times per turn. Badger Mole Cub, it essentially cantrips itself, and it allows all of our dorks to tap for 1 extra. Emerald Medallion, medallions are a must for any Storm deck. At 3 mana, Topiary Lecturer and Marwyn the Nurturer, each tap for their power. Topiary has Increment, and Marwyn gains a +1 counter whenever an elf enters the battlefield under your control. Sylvala, Heart of the Wilds, you pay 1 green to tap it for the greatest power among a creature you control. And Llanowar Tribe, a 3-drop that taps for 3. A simple boy, but an effective one. Next, the Big 4. Priest of Titania, taps for each elf on the battlefield. Elvish Arc Druid, taps for each elf you control. Circle of Dreams Druid, it taps for each creature you control. Wirewood Channeler, taps for every elf on the battlefield. But what are some common traps here? Urza's Incubator, so there's actually not a lot of targets to make this viable. I also don't like the elves that require you to tap other elves like Heritage Druid in order to add mana. Those type of mana dorks don't really help you set up. You already have to have a board state in order to take advantage. Section 2, Card Draw. Stalking the Pantry, it gains a supply counter whenever one of your creatures gains a +1 counter. You could pay 2 colorless to remove a supply counter and draw a card. This is a sleeper hit. Guardian Project draws you a card whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control. Champions of the Perfect and Beast Whisperer allow you to draw a card whenever you cast a creature spell. Inspiring Call and Armorcraft Judge both draw cards for each creature you control with a +1 counter. Inspiring Call doubles as board wipe protection, while Armorcraft is searchable. Harmonize, 4 mana, draw 3. Shamanic Revelation, we draw a card for each creature we control. Return of the Wild Speaker, Rishkar's Expertise, and Season of Gathering, each draw cards equal to the greatest power of a creature you control. Wild Speaker can also buff your board, Expertise can cast a spell for free, and Season of Gathering actually doubles as a board wipe for either artifacts or enchantments. Some of the common card draw traps I see are battle damage ones, like Toski or Frostfang. As aggressive as we want to be, we're trying to end the game in one big swing, making these type of card draw engines too slow. And if you're liking what you're seeing, make sure to subscribe. This is my first video, and there's much more to come. Section 3, Going Fast. For our haste enablers, we play Concordant Crossroads, gives all creatures on the battlefield haste. Make sure to only play it during your storm turns. Lightning Greaves. Not only is it protection for our most important pieces, since the equip cost is free, as we summon an elf, we could simply equip it, tap it twice, summon another elf, equip it, twap it twice. Our newest addition, Shang-Chi. It allows our activated abilities, like tapping for mana, to tap as if they had haste. Same with Thousand Year Elixir. with the added bonus to untap one of our big creatures. And finally, we play Akroma's Memorial. Not only does it enable our storm turns, it also acts as a finisher because it gives all our creatures haste and evasion. Speaking of finishers, Section 4, Going Big. Genesis Wave. A 3-mana sorcery that allows you to pay X more mana in order to reveal that many cards from the top of your library. And you can play any permanent card with mana value less than what you paid for free. Kindred Summons. It allows you to choose a creature type, Elves. Then you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal as many elves as you control, and then play them for free. Last March of the Ants. Ants? It allows you to draw cards equal to the greatest toughness of a creature you control, and then play every single creature in your hand for free. One of my favorite cards for the deck, Colossification. It's a 7-mana enchantment aura that allows you to enchant a creature and give it +20/+20. It unfortunately taps the creature you enchant, but guess what? Our elves untap when they tap. It's hilarious. I love it. It's so beautiful. And of course, we play Finale of Devastation with Crater Hoof Behemoth. Finale of Devastation can tutor out a creature from your library or your graveyard. The creatures you control gain haste and get buffed by whatever X is. Whenever Crater Hoof enters, he buffs your creatures by the amount of creatures you have until end of turn, and gives them all trample. Tutoring out Crater Hoof with Finale is truly the finale. You have so many options here. Get creative. Yeah, Pathbreaker of Ibex, Biorhythm you could play with, Triumph of the Hordes, even Siege Behemoth. Section 5, Support. For consistency, we play Green Sun Zenith, Celestial Reunion, Nature's Rhythm, Archdruid's Charm, and Formidable Speaker. Each of these cards either tutor a creature onto the battlefield or to our hand. You could grab a Mana Dork, card draw, protection, or a finisher. And with the addition of Shang-Chi, he is the only creature we could tutor for that gives us haste, or at least fake haste. We also play Timberwatch Elf and Immaculate Magistrate, both elves that tap to target a creature on the battlefield and buff them equal to the number of elves we control, allowing you to go nasty with Devoted Druid or any other Power Matters dorks. For protection, we play Allosaurus Shepherd. It prevents our green spells from getting countered. Wirewood Symbiote. It allows you to untap a target elf by returning a creature you control to its owner's hand as cost, meaning your opponents cannot interact with whatever creature you're returning. Tyvar's Stand. It gives the target creature hexproof and indestructible. It also allows you to pay X mana to buff that creature by +X/+X, creating opportunities for alpha strikes or crazy blocks. Heroic Intervention gives all of our permanents hexproof and indestructible. Legolas's Quick Reflexes. It allows us to untap a target creature, gives it hexproof and reach, and the ability to deal damage equal to its power whenever it becomes tapped. Collective Resistance gives one of our target creatures hexproof and indestructible, and doubles as artifact and enchantment removal. And this is where the deck falls into many traps with the many support cards. We didn't put any cards that synergize with +1/+1 counters. No Hardened Scales, no Ozolith, no Sphere Grid, and trust me, I've tested them all, and it just made the deck slow. Made the deck not very unique. It was like, why not just play Titus or something else at that point? And I think that's why the deck isn't as popular as it should be, because everyone goes the +1 counter route. Focus on the storm. Section 6, Removal. Force of Vigor. It destroys either 2 artifacts or enchantments. You can exile a green card from your hand instead of paying its mana cost. Reclamation Sage. An elf that when it enters allows you to destroy either an artifact or an enchantment. There are more mana efficient removals like Pick Your Poison or Nature's Claim, but the fact that it's an elf and a creature that we could tutor can get you out of many sticky situations. Emerald Charm. It allows us to untap one of our permanents or destroy a non-aura enchantment. Back to Nature. Destroys all enchantments. Nothing's gonna stop you more than an Authority of the Consuls or Ghostly Prison. Kenrith's Transformation. It's an enchantment aura that turns a creature into a 3/3 elk. This also draws you a card when it enters. Bushwhack, a fight spell. It could also add a land to your hand. Beast Within, our catch-all kill spell. Section 7, Lands. We played 3 dual-face lands. Bridgeworks Battle, a fight spell. Disciple of Fraelis, a draw spell, and Turn Timber Symbiosis, a spell that allows you to look at the top 7 cards of your library and put a creature on the battlefield for free. All 3 of these lands come in untapped by paying 3 life. Rogue's Passage and Secret Tunnel. Both of these lands provide evasion. War Room. It allows us to draw a card. Reliquary Tower allows us to keep our hand in case we can't finish the game, allowing us to rebuild in case somebody throws a board wipe. Wirewood Lodge. It allows us to untap one of our elves. Oseju. Artifact and enchantment removal. Shrine of Nyx. You can pay 2 and tap it to add mana equal to your devotion to green. 3 Tree City. You can pay 2 and tap it in order to add mana equal to the number of elves you control. Evendo Waking Haven. Tap it and add green for each creature we control. Even when the land is fully stationed, you could continuously tap creatures to it. And we play 23 forests, totaling up to a total of 35 lands, including MDFCs. If you are going to switch around lands here, be careful. Make sure you have enough green pips to summon your elves. You don't want to have a perfect hand with colorless lands. Section 8. I didn't consider budget when I built this list, but I do want to talk about some alternatives for some of the pricier cards. Allosaurus Shepherd could simply be replaced by Frenzied Baloth. Legalist's Quick Reflexes could be replaced by Tameo Safekeeping. Badger Mole Cub could be replaced by Viridian Joiner. Green Sun Zenith could be replaced by Elvish Harbinger. 3 Tree City, Nykthos, and Boseiju. Just throw in a forest, it doesn't really matter. Replace Crater Hoop with another finisher, Preposterous Proportions works. And last March of the Ants, you could put some more card draw, like Glimpse of Nature or Leaf Crown Visionary. The real hard ones to replace are Finale of Devastation, Concordant Crossroads, and Akroma's Memorial, because they give haste to all your creatures. These are kind of the main finishers. You could Storm, you could tap all your mana dorks with haste with Shang-Chi, but you still need to be able to attack and finish the game. So if you were going to spend money on the deck, those 3 cards would be my first priority. And honestly, there's not a replacement for them. If you guys think of one, let me know down in the comments. And finally, before we get into the Goldfishing, I did want to give some of my final thoughts. It is super fun to pilot. You do have to familiarize yourself with what's in the deck. You know, you need practice. If you're going to build this, definitely Goldfish it yourself for a little bit. I actually put a lot of enchantment and artifact removal because my pod is stacks heavy. Feel free to switch out some enchantment and artifact removal for a Frenzied Baloth, for Veil of Summer, for things that prevent your things from getting countered. Let me show you how it's done with some Goldfishing. We've got a Forest, Badger Mole Cub, Genesis Wave, a Forest, Legalist's Quick Reflexes, Crater Hoof, and an Elvish Mystic. Definitely a playable hand. Let's go with it. We'll draw for turn 1. We'll play a Forest, tap it for Elvish Mystic. Cool. We'll go ahead and pass, untap, draw. We'll play a Forest. We're going to use Elvish Mystic and Forest to tap for Badger Mole Cub. When it enters, it'll earthbend a land. Since this does become a creature, it could now tap for 2. So we're just going to go ahead and untap here. And we are going to draw for turn. And we are going to continue to set up. We're going to tap Elvish Mystic for 2 because of Badger Mole Cub. And this Forest to play Circle of Dreams Druid. So we're going to go ahead and pass. Then we will draw. This is Finale of Devastation. I just don't have my copy with me. That's okay. Because here, we're going to go ahead and tap this Forest for 2, this Forest for 1, actually, this Elvish Mystic for 2, to cast our commander, Dionus Elvish Archdruid. You know what? Let's just do like a gigantic play, right? Why not? We're going to go ahead and tap Circle of Dreams Druid for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because of Badger Mole Cub, he'll untap, get a +1. And we're going to go ahead and tap him for 6. Again, use this green to cast Legalist's Quick Reflexes to untap Circle of Dreams Druid and tap him again. He's going to cast Genesis Wave for 18, X being 15. So we're going to reveal 15 cards from the top of our deck and play all permanents for free, 15. These will go to the graveyard. And these will just play to the battlefield. We're going to have Wirewood Channeler, Akroma's Memorial, Emerald Medallion, Savala Heart of the Wilds, Reclamation Sage, Kill Something, Llanowar Tribe, and Allosaurus Shepherd. And at this point, with haste and everything, and you could just kind of tap all your mana dorks, there's way more than enough to cast what? Crater Hoof Behemoth. And at this point, with haste, trample, flying, and evasion,
you could just kill the table. That's with 2 lands. Yeah, this deck gets nasty. We got Rogue's Passage, Forest, Marwyn, Forest, Lightning Greaves, Forest, and another Forest. Not the best. We are missing card draw, but let's just go ahead and run it, see how it works out for us. For draw, we have Guardian Project. That is some card draw, which is nice. We're just going to start out turn 1 by playing a Forest, passing. Go to our next turn, draw a Crater Hoof, one of our finishers. Here we're going to play a Forest, and we're going to tap 2 to cast Lightning Greaves. Then we're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw, Priest of Titania, perfect. Start by playing a Forest, and tapping 3 for Marwyn the Nurturer. We're going to immediately equip Lightning Greaves to it, and we're going to go ahead and pass. We will untap, upkeep, draw. Here we're going to go play a Forest. We are still in our setup phase, so we're going to tap 4 to play Guardian Project. Now whenever an elf enters the battlefield under our control, we will draw a card. And we're going to go ahead and pass. Now that we have a good setup turn, we are going to draw, play a Forest. And from here, I think we could storm off. First, we're going to tap 4 Forest to play our commander. Marwyn will trigger, getting a +1 because another elf did enter the battlefield, and we're going to draw a card due to Guardian Project. Tap Marwyn for 2 mana. She then will trigger to untap due to our commander and get a +1 counter. So the next time we tap her, she's going to tap for 3. Here we're going to use the 2 mana to cast Priest of Titania. Another elf entered. Marwyn will get another counter, going up to 3. Guardian Project triggers to draw a card. Here we could tap another Forest to cast Allosaurus Shepherd. Now our green spells can't be countered. We'll get another Guardian Project trigger. And Marwyn will also get a +1 counter because an elf entered the battlefield. And here we'll tap Marwyn for 5 mana. We'll go ahead and use 2 of the mana, going down to 3, to cast Shang-Chi. A non-token creature entered, so we'll draw for Guardian Project. We'll go ahead and use 1 of the mana here to cast Devoted Druid. It's another elf. Marwyn triggers to go up to 5. At this point, I'll go ahead and tap Devoted Druid. She will untap, getting a +1 counter, and we'll add 1 green mana to our pool. We'll go ahead and tap her, add a 3rd mana. We'll use her own ability to put a -1 counter on it. These will cancel out. Then we'll tap her again to add 1 mana. And then we'll put a -1 counter on her to untap her. And then we'll tap her again, going to 5 total mana. Using 4 of this mana, going down to 1, we're going to cast Champions of the Perfect. We are going to behold an elf. In this case, we're going to do Devoted Druid because we already used her. But for now, every time we cast a creature spell, we will draw a card. And since Champion of the Perfect entered, Marwyn triggers to get a +1, and we'll draw because of Guardian Project. Now we have Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. Here we could tap Priest of Titania for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, going to 6. She will untap due to our commander, get a +1. We'll use 3 of this mana to cast Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. We're going to be drawing a card for Guardian Project and Champion of the Perfect. And we'll also trigger Marwyn to get another +1 counter. From here, we could tap Priest of Titania for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, going up to 9. And using 6 of those 9, going down to 3, to cast Ristar's Expertise, to draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures we control, which right now is Marwyn at 8. So we're going to go ahead and draw 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to go ahead and use 1 mana here to cast Elvish Mystic, 2 draw triggers, draw, and from here, as you can see, we're just kind of storming off. We did draw Akroma's Memorial, so it'll give all our creatures flying and haste. Use that mana to cast Wirewood Channeler, which will draw us 2 cards for Guardian Project and Champions of the Perfect. This guy will tap for all elves on the battlefield. We have another card draw spell, which if we cast it right now, could draw us another 8 cards. Not only that, we have Legalist's Quick Reflexes to untap him again. And with that, we just cast Crater Hoof and Akromas and win from there. Or keep going. Up to you.